Okay, so we're gonna do lab 9 today. And today we're only gonna use Kali, right? So you don't have to worry about the secondary machine. So we are going to be using the system, Kali system, to attack and be the target at the same time. So so if you download the latest version, it's 25.1. So just use the latest version. You can go to the website, right? And then download. After you download, you would go save it to your downloads folder. Make sure you right click, show more options, and extract it. Once you extract it, you have a second folder like this, and you're gonna run it by opening up those folder and double click the blue file. So once you have it open, it's gonna load it to your virtual box, and then you can click you can modify your settings. Okay, this is going to give you more RAM, but if you run it as default, just keep in mind that sometimes it is slow if you give it only 2 gig of RAM and dual core, right? We can up it to 4 core. I didn't, but you can always shut it down and change it and then boot it back up. Okay. Okay, I'll do that. So you can click the power button and then we can shut down. It's really fast. And once it shuts it down, go back to VBox. Once it's power off, go to settings and then go to system. We can increase this to 8,000 and the processor, we can make that to 4. So once you modify to what you like, you can click start and then log back in. So as always, right, we can start with the update. I forgot to bold that. It's important that you push updates because these programs are developed based on your current version. So we want to make sure we push updates for our software. And then we are going to activate our web app, right? I explained this in my other classes, but I'm going to reiterate it in this class. We use DVWA because it is a web application that's already made and it is not secure, right? I don't want to spend an hour of your time making new code and make the application. We just download something that's already pre-made, we install it and we run it, right? So that gives us a web application that is not secure on our system. That was the goal, right? And with it, it's going to use Apache, PHP. I know if you install the database component, it uses MariaDB. So all of that is equipped inside Kali Linux by default, but you can also download it if you're not using Kali. Okay, so once my system is booted here, I am going to update. Why? Because I'm going to use Zap, which is Z Attack Proxy. This is good for if you want to test a web application, particularly made for web application, and you can perform things like man-in-the-middle type of attack, browser form of attack, and so on. So it creates a proxy between the browser and the actual application to screen for the services that you're running for your web app. Okay, so that's what we're going to be using. You're going to log into Kali now. And you just need to do updates, not upgrade, right? Upgrade takes a little bit longer where it downloaded the next version of the operating system. So we're going to do sudo apt update and put in your password. Let me zoom in. So once we finish the update, we are going to install DVWA. Like I said, that's a web application that's pre-made, that is vulnerable, so we can use it as a testing environment. And once you install it, you're gonna start the service. It's gonna open up the web page because it's locally hosted. It's gonna show IP 127.0.0.1. However, if you are using a real web app, right, that will show the public IP right here. So, back to the VM. I'm finished update, right? Now I'm gonna go ahead and do sudo app. Sorry, let me scroll this up a little bit so I have room to see. And you can copy paste, but just know what command you're doing. That's the whole point, right? That's important. So we're gonna install damn vulnerable web app. And once it's installed, you're gonna start it. Okay. And you can stop the app by using the option stop after DVWA. So be DVWA-stop, right? So once I start it, I just turn on that application that's locally hosted on my machine, right? So if you have a real application, you will host it on a server that runs web services, or you can connect the server to the web server. So once I have the DVWA enabled, I'm gonna go ahead and do DVWA start, right? Make sure that you see the command turns blue. That means that it accepts it in Kali. And then it's going to prompt you with the password. That will be KALI, your login password. And it's going to take a few seconds for it to load the actual web page. You notice that here is our IP address, and it hosts it at port 42001. And here it prompts you the login page. Now, if you're trying to use this as it is, it's not fully equipped, right? In the next week or so, when we do SQL injection, I will show you how you can activate all the feature on it, so that way you can use it to practice cross-site scripting, SQL injection. So this is a really good tool. I've seen people use a similar product on their Docker and their cloud environment, but you can use it on Kali Linux virtual machine like this. Okay. All right. And then what we're gonna do next, after we turn this on, you can leave it on. We can just minimize this, come back to your terminal, and we're gonna do sudo apt install Zaproxy with 1P, okay? So once you install the tool, you're gonna execute it, you're gonna run it by using its name, Zaproxy. Remember, it turns blue, then it accepts it. And as it loads, you're gonna see it's running Java, right? It loads the JVM. If you've taken Java before, it used Java virtual machine to really build, to run the code. So, all right. Once you have your Zaproxy open, okay, you're gonna see the graphical user interface. I'm gonna select no, I do not want to persist this at this time. So it prompts you, do you want to persist that proxy session, right? If you want to do that, you can select the other one. So the first option allows you to have the namespace with the timestamp or the location for the second option. So I'm just going to select no, and I'm going to click start. So you have to select an option for it to go. Now, just like all security tools, it's gonna bring in its module, right? You're gonna see that there are module names that are direct. So earlier we talked about DOM, right? And DOM cross-site scripting. So there's an active scanner that comes with this tool. This is ideal for web applications, pen testing, right? It's really made for that. And then you can So you can select the tools that you want to use, basically, to bring in the module. So after I click start on the update, so these are the update options. You're going to select call home, which is this one right here, right? We can check that. Let me see. I'm sorry. Or maybe it doesn't let. I think it's already doing that because it's locally hosted. So it doesn't let you select that one. Call home and network. We're okay. So these two. You're gonna update all anyway. So even I don't think you can. Okay, so you need to select all the options. Sorry. Is there? They did away with that? Or I'm not seeing it. Is there not okay, so you have to. I thought that they have a. Yeah, so it doesn't allow you to select that, but you're gonna select all the others. That's what I meant, except for call home and network. And this part might take a little bit of time to go through. I thought that they had a select all option before, but do you have to update all of them? Not necessarily. You need to update the ones that you want to use, but I did this so that way you can go through the list and kind of check. Okay, so once I selected all of these things, I'm gonna click. Oh yeah, it does say update all or update all. And then we are going to say custom payload. We're going to select that and click yes. Okay. Did everybody see that? Right. We select the options we want to update. Click update all. It's going to prompt you with the changes in the package. You're going to select it and then click update. And then when that's complete, we're going to close. So you want to update the module, right? And the application is here. Okay, so after that, what we're gonna do is we are going to expand the application and we're gonna do the automated scan. You are scanning your web app, so this is the URL that you're gonna put in, right? In the real world, this is gonna be your domain or your IP address of your applications and where it's hosted, okay? So we are going to open this up, right? We're going to click the automated scan, which is the lightning strike with the blue circle. Okay, you can do a manual explore where you can select specific options. This is the easiest one to start with. And then in here, you just need to type in your target, which is going to be 127.0.0.1 and then 442.0.0.1. And that's making sure that we have the port, which is separated by the colon. Okay. And then it's gonna do that through the Firefox that's equipped with the actual machine that we're using. And all you have to do is click attack the button here. And it's gonna show you like the status, right? And it's gonna run. So it's gonna generate requests and it's gonna submit data to it. Get post, get post, get post. for the login, right? Whether it finds it, so you're gonna see. And if you up the RAM in the processor, you're gonna see it fast. And then if you don't have the machine that has the resources, it's gonna be slow. But there are times it's gonna be like this, right? So Zap is pretty convenient where that you already have a lot of these tools integrated into one type of application. So it's, if you want to stop it, you can click stop, right? But you're gonna let it run a little bit. You see the status code, you see some of the information like for your timestamp, and then how long that it would take. So take a screenshot that you're running that. Let's wait for it a little bit, right? Now you can go to different tabs here. This tab is going to show you the status of your messages and everything, right? If you want to look at specific details, you can go back to it. You can pause it like this. You can stop it here, right? Tap the scan or pause the scan by clicking this button here. But it tells you it's 40% done. Now, if you go to the alert portion, you would see, we talked about content policy earlier, right? Your content security policy, you're gonna see that here. So it tells you that it notifies you that there are 34 items that relate to CSP that you need to see. So make sure you check these, and you can go through each one by clicking it. See you guys. And what it tells you is it tells you the level of risk for each of the item for your CSP or the other area. See you later. And so you can see that there is CSP, right? And then there's also other issues. So this tool, and remember that it's not done, so it's gonna eventually update all of this, right? So this is the result is gonna show here. So it's telling you that it's missing some criteria, 34 things for the content security policy. There's anti-clicking anti-click jacking header that's missing, right? Because it's not secure web application. Of course, it's gonna miss that, right? And then there is injection capability right here. There's same site, lacking same site cookie attributes, right? We talked about that today. So this tool looks specifically for all the things that you need at the basic level for security for web application, right? It tells you that under the alert tab. Okay. All right. So now we need to take a look at to see if there is absence of anti-CSRF tokens. So when you look at the tab, go back to your alert. This should be scan. Sorry, I had a typo there. For B25B, what type of scan can be performed for DVWA site? So when you go through this, look at the alerts to see if you can find, is there any kind of tokens that's used for anti-CSRF, right? So there's SQL injection capability, application error. We talked about CSP. There's same site missing. Server leaks issue, X content option header. Right. So by default, DVWA is lacking a lot, right? So if you don't find it, you can say you don't find it. And the scan that can be performed, it tells you your active scan. If you go to active scan, let me see. I think this is only going to give you the status. Now, on the tool itself, if you want specific tool, like if you want a fuzz, or if you want to use the spider or Ajax spider, you can specifically pick it, right? The automated tools is gonna run all the default tools that are equipped with it, where it would do like injection, and it's gonna try to guess the password. It does the SQL injection. So if you go back to the alert, it does tell you like, oh, it performs SQL injection. And these are the results that you get. Okay. Okay. So now after you look at that, you're gonna look at into CSP, where to see if you have any kind of risk level. So if you look at the CSP headers not set, so go back to your alert under CSP, you can expand it right here. If you click on it, right? Sorry, it's not pulling up. Yeah, so you see that your risk level is medium, right? It's gonna rank it and it's gonna tell you that there. And if you want to run it again, you can just click like on the top, just quick start and then just attack again. So that way you can see, because if you miss some of the information, if you wanted to see, right, you can always restart the scan. It's gonna probably be faster because it probably have historical data, but it's still gonna perform the scan that you need. Okay. So the first time I ran it, interesting enough, it shows as medium, but the second time I ran it, it shows it as high currently. But that can be modified, right? So if you look at the scan, so some of you are like, oh, how do I know what kind of scans that it does, right? You can see on the tags, it's gonna tell you like the yeah, it checks for like CSRF, it does form injection. There's a lot of like different type of scan that's used, but you can also find the tools that's equipped with it on top right here. Okay. So it does do the fuzz by default. It uses spider. And you can select the specific tools if you want. Okay. So we talked about the risk level. The type of attack can be performed based on the result. So how do I know that? If you read, let's go back here. Right? This is my CSP header, not set. Okay. If you read the description, it talks about like how the type, what kind of attack can be used with that. So just read the description. And it would be the same for the other areas too. Like if you look at the other error or other issues, there would be associated attacks that can happen if certain things is not configured or if it's missing. So if you click on the entry, it would tell you, right, what it is and what can occur, right? And then they give you the section of the code, right? And the server information. So remember we talked about banner and some of that, right? And footprinting, it does that for you on top right here. I don't know if it's doing cookie poisoning. Let me see. Okay, so we're gonna do, I have some same site. Okay, so we're gonna look at the same site cookies, right? So we're, after we check the CSP, go to same site cookie, expand it. And we talked about this earlier where this is going to prevent, right, CSRF, cross-site scripting, so XSS, but does the inclusion and then timing attack. So those are the attacks that can be performed if we don't integrate same-site cookies, okay, potentially. And then the risk level, you just have to scroll up and it shows the risk level here, right, with the flag. Okay, so once we are done with that, we're gonna go and find authentication tester. So tools. Let me see. Yeah, it's right here. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we are going to type in, or yeah, we're gonna have to type in our URL. So HTTP, right? The IP address 127.0.0.1. And we always want to include the port, right? Or the extension and the extension of that. So so I want to make sure that this is a login screen for my application. So in the real world, when you test this for web app, right, this is where, where you click that login button and it shows, where you enter your username and account, that's the URL that you're going to put. Okay. So 42.0.0.1, and then you're going to do vulnerability, and you can select it too. I think vulnerabilities with the ES and then /root. Okay. And then once that's done, it's going to do it through the default browser, right? We're going to do admin. and password. Okay, and then we're gonna click test. So it's gonna open up, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Is that the same thing that you're getting? Yeah, that means that the password is, oh yeah. So if you get that, if you get the 403, let me double check it again. Give me a second. I'm sorry. Because sometimes these things change. Oh, don't you just love it when it doesn't scale to? Yeah. 1 second. Let me come back to. Yeah, so you can try it again. I think we can try, you can try the login.php. Okay, let me copy this and then I'll help Dre real quick. So yeah, you can try instead of the brute whatever, you can try login.php and see if that works. Yeah, so if you don't see the tokens, then it did check for the tokens. So, yeah, you don't, I think you can do that on by itself. Let me check. I think somebody asked me that last time I taught this class. Yeah, you can try to use the login extension. I'm gonna do that next, but give me a second. Let me resolve this real quick. For Dre. So here's the app. Yeah, it's under manage login, so it's like a separate window. I'm trying to fix this and then look at your option as well. So login.php. No, the cookie ones are the same site attribute is there. Let's see. Yeah, if you try the login.php, give me a second. Like this. It works. So your question was the cookie without same site? Yeah. It's there. About the regular one, 654, that was the same thing. Yeah, you might not have cookie poisoning there, so. Okay. So when you do the test, it just see if it's logged in successfully, right? It does, yeah, it does. The app says it's failed, but you see that it logs in with that's the right password. So not all tools are perfect, even when you do that, but this is a way that you can manually test an account, okay, to see if it logs in without interacting directly with that website. You going through okay, so when you use Zaproxy, it's actually create like a proxy in the middle, so you don't interact directly with the site. Okay, so you don't need to update. I remember there is a update under options. Yeah, so under help, under check for updates, you can always run that separately. Yeah. It pops up as, you might have minimized it. So check your taskbar. It might come up as a second window to it. The way they wrote this application is it's like two separate components. It shows that first, but you're not required. I guess it pops that up first in order to load the other stuff, but you can still run the application without it. Yeah. Okay, so if you're doing 30, make sure you try it with the login.php extension. Take a screenshot. Even though it logs you in, right? You know that that's the right password for the account to configure the web app. That's the admin account for that web app. The test still show failed. But it's a way that we can test it through Zaproxy with an account. So from an attacking standpoint, we can do that without interacting directly with the website, so we can still post the authentication data to it. And then we're gonna look at the right pane of Zaproxy, and we're gonna look at the PHP session ID, and then looking at the expiration. Okay, so we're the right pane. Look at the history. I know sometimes they change these things up. Depending on your view, right? I think originally we're like this, right? So when I did the test, it launched the test, it plugs that in. We know that we logged in successfully, but I think it logged it as failed. Let me see if it tracks that as a post. So it did that here. It did a set cookie. So I'm on the history tab for the application. Let me see if it shows you the session ID it used to. Oh yeah, and Dre, at the top, the little lightning bolt with the little half arrow, that's also check for updates. I forgot, yeah, they had a show in response. Okay, so we have that. Where's the development view? Sorry, I think they modified some of the output. But I think you can do it also. You can check with the developer view inside the actual app itself. Like here's my app, right? You go to the bar right here. And then I'm going to write this down, more tools, and then developers tools. So if you do like admin and password, you're going to see, I'll write the step here for you in case you need to refer. We don't save it, but if you go to memory, I did this with my CIS27 the other day. Oh, yeah. So it takes a second. It's a little laggy. So if you click on storage, you will find it. So here it is, right? If you don't see this in Zaproxy because it doesn't, they might have changed the interface, or if it depends on the view that you're in, right? So if you cannot find the HP session ID, open DVW. So we're gonna open browser, Firefox, and visit. Then log in. So once you log in, you're gonna click menu, browser menu, and that's the 3 lines at top left, top right, I'm sorry. Then select more tools and developer tools. Click on storage tab to see the session ID. Okay, so I'll do that again so you can see. Okay, so if you can't find this on Zaproxy, you can find that manually. I'll show you how, right? So first, we will visit the login page like this. We open up our browser, we visit the login page. We're gonna type in our username and password and then click login. So what you do there is you generate a post to the website. You're gonna click the toolbar right here, or the menu bar for the browser. You're gonna go to more tools and you're gonna select web developer tools. Once you do that, I just deselected it, so let me do that again. It's gonna come up on the bottom like this. You're gonna click the tab, the storage tab on the bottom, okay? And you're gonna see the session ID right here, and it tells you the expiration date. So if you Zaproxy, it has this integration so that way you don't have to do it manually. But it, I see that sometimes they do away with the feature, so you can find the session ID this way, and you can look at the expiration date. Okay, so that's good. And then what we're gonna come back to Zaproxy. Okay. We can close this. And we're gonna do tools and active scan, right? Is it sequences? This one. So you can do that with Control Alt A. And then we will see you later. We would then, once you select the active scan, you're gonna select the button and then you're going to select, because you only have one server, right? So in the case if you have a range of server that's detected, you can select the one, right? So we only have one web server for our web app, one web app server. So we're gonna select that. That's hosted at our local system. And then making sure that you select the rest. So I think this one you're just gonna start scan. Okay. And then if if you want to scan it as a certain account, if there's an account, it would tag that there. So we're just gonna start scanning. So at the top, you can always change your view depending on how you want it. Some people work well. I do well with vertical view. But you know, if you can always change like how it looks in so if the original view that you see is like this request and response tab side by side like this, or you can modify your view on how you want. Okay. Okay, so as you scan, you notice that it gets a little laggy, right? When you're trying to change up things in it. So take a screenshot once you do your active scan. And then and then we're going to do Ajax Spider. So tools. Okay. And then you're going to go down to Ajax Spider. And the same thing, starting point, we're going to select our web application server, click select, and then we can start scan. So individually, you can use different components this way from the actual tool itself, right? We gotta wait for it to go, and then once you get the result back, right, you're gonna get the alert information. So look at which one has the highest alert. That's gonna be the one that we're gonna fix. Then when you're done, you can generate a report. So the whole point in getting the scan is to do something with the result. We don't just scan just for the heck of it, right? So once you do that, you generate a report, and then it's gonna open up your report page, and you are going to look at based on risk confidence. So the higher risk, the ones that we want to fix first, that's gonna show what's the percentage of your high risk. And then proceed with your report, and then close your report. So the part C is gonna be on SQL map. It's like one command that you're gonna run. It's really easy. Thank you. You're welcome. You too. Okay, so for the Ajax Spider, right, it comes back, and then if you click the highest alert tab, that sorts your alerts for you, right? Like if I click it again, it's gonna go descending. That means that it's gonna go from high to low, where if I click it normally, it's gonna go and it's gonna come back to the order that it was in, right? So you can sort it. So I only have medium and low kind of alerts when I did the Ajax Spider, which is the red one. You're gonna see that you're gonna have a lot of tabs right here, right? We can select the red spider one, which is Ajax Spider. So it uses Ajax, right? As for the request. Okay. So that allows us to answer 42. And then once you have your scan result, we're gonna go tools, and then we're going to generate the report. Did they still keep it here? Or is it export? Yeah, these are the options for the tool. Oh, it has a report option now, sorry. So click report tab and generate the report. So oh yeah, I did. So I did put that. sorry. So generate the report. And then click generate the report. So it's going to open up as an HTML file like this, and it organizes your alert based on the confidence for high, medium, and low. Okay. So if you click the link, it actually brings it down to the actual details of it. Let me see. Yeah, click the summaries to see the percentage. So I'm going to put here note. Click summary. Let's see percentage. Saving? No. Oh, okay. All right. So when you view the report, I'm going to go back, right? I wanted to see the high confidence level like this, but I wanted to see the percentage. So you just click the summaries at the link right here, and it breaks it down for you, like which one is high, right? Which one is informational? Informational is just like the descriptive details without, you know, being a risk, and then which one's low. So you can see that with the high, there's like 5.9%. And then view the next section for the alert type that's high risk. What counts the percentage?
19's mouse is broken. It's got like a kind of right click and it goes in.
All right, thank you. Okay, so for the next section of the report, you're going to look at the report alert type that's high risk. And then again, you can look at the count and the percentage. So like I said, use the summaries to see the percentage. And then when you're done, you can close the report and the application. Okay, so this is the report itself, and the summaries link is here. You can also do alert counts or alert counts by risk confidence. It will take you to that section, basically. It's expanded. And then we can click back to go back to the original report. Okay. So slightly changed from before. I think the earlier version from last year, it's just a report layout, but you can see all the links that's associated. And then you can click alert type, and it's going to specify like specific by like SQL injection, application error, and it does the count, and so on. Okay. And then I'm gonna quickly go over SQL map. I know we're coming close to the end now. So we gotta make sure that your DVWA starts. So if you did this in the earlier step, you don't have to restart it, right? You can restart it if you want. So I'm gonna close this now. You too, see you. And then we're going to close our Zaproxy. I want to do that so it frees up the resources. So we can just do DVWA start again, just in case. Okay. So we started DVWA. Now we're gonna do, this is a double dash. I apologize, that word sometime change the symbol. So open up your terminal. Again, when you're doing the SQL map one, make sure that you use the double dash. Okay. And then I want to put in the URL where I can do the SQL injection. So the URL target is gonna go there, right? So you can, if you're not sure where, go to the website and then select this part right here. So in the real website, this is would be like a page where you can type in comments or fill out a form, right? So basically that's where you can inject code onto the server through that page. So this particular website or web application, it's here, right? It's where we practice SQL injection. So that's where I select it so that way we can see if it works. So you're gonna make sure you put the URL. And so what kind of data do you want to put? So do you want any kind of data entered for none? So we're just gonna do that. And then you're gonna select, take care, see you later, 2 and 3. So the difficulty, we're gonna do level 2, which is medium, and then everything, which is 3. Okay. So it's telling me that, oh, page not found, but there was some stuff that's shown here that it's trying to log in. Let's see if we can inject directly into the login page. Oops, sorry. Let's do SQL Map Wizard again. And for the URL instead of the, what the heck? So I'm gonna do HTTP 127.0.0.1 and 42.0.0.1, and we're gonna do login.php. I'm gonna see if you can inject directly into the login page. And we're gonna do medium, or maybe we'll go hard because I think it's impossible setup for the security level for the website. And then we're gonna do all. So 3 and 3. We're gonna do yes. I'll test it this way and see, because when you do it with the SQL injection, it's basically telling you a 404, which is an error. So it's a possibility that we would change this to HTTP 127.0.0.1 42.0.1 login.php. So you can try SQL map through the login. I think that should also work. So I guess it's taking time, so it's attempting that, right? So if this pose 403 or 404 error, you can try this one. Okay, just take a screenshot if it doesn't give you any parameter that's injectable. I know that by default, I'm going to show you, if you look at the security level for the actual web application, it's selected as impossible. So that's why it's harder to inject anything. But if you want to test it, you can lower the security level. So I click on the DVWA tab on the actual DVWA site and then select this and lower it, right? That's how you can test it. So if I have very little or no security, it will be low. If I have a little bit of security, it will be medium. And if I have a lot of security, it will be high. And next to impossible to break is impossible, right? So you can set different level. You forgot something? Okay. And then, so once you select it, you can click submit and then you can try it again, right? So that's a way that you can test. So I'm going to hit Control C. How do you want to proceed? Verbose, change parameter. So we want to do N for next. Okay, so it might hang up for a while. Just take a screenshot for me. But ultimately, the result of this, it should tell you like, are there any parameters that are injectable in the database? Also, there's no database activated on the app right now. I should have had you do that, right? How do you do that? You can do that on the actual setup or reset DB like this. And then create a database. So it's gonna load the database for the app. Okay. And then I'm gonna try it again. Control C. Yeah, so there is a post parameter user token appears to hold anti. Okay, so for this to effectively work, we need to configure I gotta make sure it's the right verbiage. Okay, so we're gonna click setup or reset DB. Tab on the left of DVWA page. Then click reset. Create DB button on the bottom of the page. Create. Okay, so I did reconfiguration of DVWA. I log in. Username is as admin and password is password. Okay. Then I reconfigure DVWA. I lowered the security level. I created a database and I SQL map it and it worked. Okay. And then the last part is beef. So it talks about this is an exploitation framework, kind of like Metasploit, but particularly for browser. So you can stop DVWA. So I'm going to do that. We can close this. Okay. So even if you close the page, you can stop the service. We're going to install beef. And this app is created in Ruby. Then we're going to perform cross-site scripting. See you later. So we're gonna run the cross-site scripting component of beef. Then the reason why we're using this port is it's going to enable port 3000 for the beef framework. So that's what you're gonna use for that, right? And then Wapiti is going to be for web application fuzzer. It is a way that we can fuzz into an application. So you just use that, okay? And I'm gonna try to get, so my beef is installed. Then I'm gonna run the cross-site scripting. So I'm using the default credential. If you want to put in a new password, I'm just gonna put in Kelly. And it's going to run the hook. So you want to put in, you want to put down the URL information because it tells you the port right there. Okay. Oh, it says unable to connect. Let me see. I think I was having issue last time I was using this too. But let's see. Install. Yeah, it's showing it's failed. See, I don't think you can log into it. The service fail. It's not active. Execution started. Yeah, service failed. So when you run the beef, it won't load the UI. I think it's missing. It might be missing packages for the code to run. Yeah, because it looks like it's not able to do that. You see that with the status? So you can screenshot that there. I will see if I can troubleshoot it when I have time this weekend. Okay. And then we can move to part E, which is Wapiti. So we're gonna start DVWA again. So if you run beef and it fails, it's okay. So I'll put a note here. If service fails to load, take screenshot. Okay, so we're gonna do Wapiti. I think this is already equipped with Kali. So you don't have to install it, but if you use other Linux version, you have to install it. So the help option tells you that you can do verbose, which is the -v. There are specific things that you can use as options. We are going to use the U option because it's URL, and we're going to scan it against our locally hosted website or web server. Okay. So Wapiti is cool. It's gonna take a few minutes. You don't have to wait for it 10+ minutes, but it does take a while, realistically. And then it's gonna generate some, oh, it did finish fast. All right, so your report URL, it tells you it's under home, Kali, Wapiti, right? And then it generated the report. So if you want to click, you can go to the home folder here, right? You can open that up. And it would be under, oh, I think you have to read it in oh, there's my Zap report from earlier. You probably have to follow this path, but it's under the application, under the report. So you can take this and put it into your browser and you can view it. That's what it says here, right? So I can copy this, open my browser, open another tab, and paste and go. And there I have the report. So make sure you look at the output. And it only took me like a few minutes, not 10 minutes, right? If you don't have quad core, it's going to take a while. Okay, screenshot, answer the questions, answer the final questions, and we're done.
Miss Casey,
Yep.
try to,
Give me a second. Let me stop my